Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing chat with myself, James Denny, COO here at Sales Geek, and my esteemed colleague, Becky, also from the team here in the UK. And we're here to talk about what it means to be a Sales Geek franchisee. And specifically, today's conversation is about life of a geek when you've been here a while. And I've got two war horses with me today to talk about their, maybe that wasn't a great analogy, but we'll go with it, talk about their life. So I'm going to hand over and get them to do an introduction. So if I could come to Peter first, could you just give us an introduction, Peter, of who you are and where you are as a franchisee? Then Lisa, we'll get you to say where you are and where you are as a franchisee, and then we'll get into some backstories and some questions. So Peter, tell us all about yourself.
Cool. So I'm Peter from Glasgow. I took on Glasgow West as my territory 3.5 years ago or something like that now, and just recently gone into partnership with another geek in Scotland to take over Sales Geek Scotland. So I think there's 5 or 6 territories that we've taken ownership for. So that's where
Very good. So an expanding empire, of which we're going to come into at the moment. So would you say 3.5 years now? Is it really? Is that that long?
My contract was signed in February 3 and a bit years ago, and my official start date was the 1st of June of that year.
Very good. Right. Let's come back to the whole story in a second. Lisa, introduce yourself. Whereabouts are you in the world?
I am a part of the duo that is Sales Geek Essex, and I have been here for over 4 years now.
I know, you're an OG, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm the old nag, right?
I did say
horse analogy.
4.5 years. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just flown. I can't believe you've been here 3.5 years, Peter. It's like
it's bonkers, isn't it?
What a journey.
Well, I think we need to put some counterweight into this. So I'm actually going to ask Becky to introduce herself. How long have you been here, Becky?
So I've been here since May, so we're almost coming up to 6 months.
Hey, so there you go, counterbalance. So we've got 4.5 years, we've got 6 months.
Yeah, just but yeah, I mean, to be fair, even since then, I completely get what you mean. Like, it's completely flown by. It feels like 2 minutes, but like 2 years at the same time. I think that just goes to show sort of how well and easily you're able to integrate into the company. How welcoming everybody is, how willing everybody is to help as well, in terms of getting you to where you need to be in your journey, whether it's in HQ or whether it's, you guys out on the field as franchisees. So yeah, my role is finding more brilliant people like yourselves, offering them that opportunity of being able to step out on their own, do the part of the job that they love, but actually getting to do it for themselves, picking the businesses that they work with and the fantastic people that they work with as well, making that difference.
Perfect. So if any of this conversation strikes a chord and you want to reach out, Becky's your lady, or you can reach out to me. You're welcome to go and speak to Peter. You never answer the phone, but you can have a good go. Or you can go and have a little chat with Lisa. Have a gin in your hand if you're going to go and do that.
You're so cheeky.
Only needed.
Hold on to your britches.
Hold on to your britches. Yeah, I think you need to. Do that. So we have some comments popping into the chat, by the way. So Simon, hello from Malaysia. Nice to meet you. So we've got Malaysia on here. We have people from India watching us today, people from the US, and a couple of people from the UK as well. So hello, everyone. In fact, if you could type in the comments below where you're from, that would be amazing. And I can let the team know where you're particularly calling from. Or any questions, by the way, if any of you, like Simon or any others that are on the call, if you've got a specific question that you'd like Peter or Lisa to answer, then let us know. So first of all, there's a journey to get here, right? So you've got your history, you've been working somewhere, you've got your own backgrounds. So let's just dive into that for a little bit. Explain, what were you doing? What made you unhappy about doing that to make you look at something like this? And then how did you get here, Peter? If you start for us.
So yeah, by a real quick high level part of my career, I kind of started a business at 19. Over 12 years, we grew it to several million and had about 60 odd employees. I then went to corporate life. So went from the full pendulum from small family business into corporate, which I was also there for 12 years and landed up being a director for quite a large division. but I'd always sort of strived for my business and didn't quite know what it was. I'd always been told to go into business myself, but I didn't really have a passion in anything that wasn't a hobby, if that makes sense. And I didn't want to turn a hobby into a job because I thought it would ruin it. I then went to do a management buyout of a small business. Was there through COVID. From day one, I probably fooled myself and thought the culture and the values of the business was the right place for me to be, and it wasn't. I then had to exit that business, which is a completely different story, but relatively quickly. So I literally signed a contract with Sales Geek, I think 24 hours before my second child was born. So it wasn't particularly well thought out. And I've loved it since, to be fair. But for me, it was always people telling me to say, start my own business. Never really knew what it was about. Then somebody approached me and said, sell sales as a job. And I thought, that sounds like a type of business that I can do. So it kind of really quickly kind of fossilized in my mind as the right place to be. And 3.5 years later, I'm still forging away. So
still forging away. Yeah, good effort. We're going to come to what forging away means in a moment. But Lisa, let's give our audience a little bit of an experience of the Lisa Roadshow. Where have you come from? What have you been doing? And how did you get all the way over here?
I guess I've always been in sales. I had my first sales business back when I was 21, and I kind of grew and went in and out of corporate, bounced backwards and forwards. Came back into my own thing when after my children had been born, and grew a recruitment business where I was a business consultant for my sales leaders, because I was a specialist in recruiting salespeople, and a career coach for my candidates. And that's where I kind of found my knowledge, inspiration, and drive for sales leadership and guiding businesses on sales leadership. So before Sales Geek, I'd been a fractional sales director on and off and in and out of various bits and pieces for about 10 years. Then we went into lockdown and I did a lot of free coaching and bits and pieces like that. And then I was looking for something new when we came out of all of that, and then found Richard Few. Had an amazing conversation, which never leaves. First conversation that never leaves our thoughts. And then and then we thought, well, I promised that I would help somebody that I'd helped in lockdown, and then they offered me a contract for a while. So not now, but I'll be back. And the second conversation with Richard Few was even more interesting. But it's like, Richard, I keep dreaming about Sales Geek, and there must be something in it. And I think it was the right time. And the rest is history. 4 years ago. And I came in a slightly different capacity, because actually we were launching the sales training franchise, and they needed a poster child and somebody quiet and unassuming. And
yeah, we were looking for a wallflower, weren't we? And then we popped up. We were like, yeah, okay. I'm not sure what we're doing here, but let's go.
And then that's that. And then decided a year later, when we amalgamated the two together, to take on a region rather than saying just in sales training. And here we are, growing, scaling, and loving life. It's been a hell of a journey.
Good effort. Thank you. Right. Okay. So interesting background, slightly different backgrounds to the pair of you coming in here. You could have set stuff up on your own, and you could have tried doing your own things. And I know, Lisa, you had your own sort of thing as well, but you chose a franchise model. Why? And our models probably changed quite a bit. Or actually, probably the better question is, how different has our model become from when you guys joined to what you experience it today? I think certainly the quarterly meetings are different, if Peter ever went to one. But anyway, it's changed over 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. Sorry, Peter.
Not fair.
Yeah, I think the question about franchise, because obviously I've set up my own businesses my entire life, right? Me and a telephone and a computer, right? That's all you need. Yeah. So it was very unusual for me to go for a franchise model, because I'm a smart aleck and like to think that I know better than everybody else. And for the most part, I do, right? But I think I always had this inner passion, like this big mission to really make a difference in our industry. And when I spoke with Richard and understood what the mission and values were, I just thought, do you know what? I can't do this on my own. Let's join a whole bunch of lunatics who want to do it together. And I think it's that community. That's where the real value is in Sales Geek, is the breadth and depth and understanding and knowledge and passion of the community. And that's grown and grown. I mean, we were only 5. I was the 5th person in, I think. We were only 5 then. Now we're 30, 40, something
65
like that.
around the world, 37 in the UK, I think, something like that.
Yeah, so like it's just, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? And learning, growing, understanding, and pulling together, it really feels like we're on this tipping point where we're making that big difference. The mission, to transform the way the world perceives sales. It feels like it's happening. The credibility. I'm so pleased I joined, because it is a completely different ball game. I don't think I even got an onboarding. I think I just sat around and spoke to people. So now it's hugely professional. It's very, very well considered. It's incredibly valuable. The training on its own is insane. It's really, really impressive. But I came without all of that and managed to survive.
Yeah, and Peter, you weren't far after, right? But just a year after Lisa. What's the big noticeable differences for you?
Yeah, I think this for me, I mean, I'd reiterate with Lisa, I joined because, I did about a year of being a consultant. And to be honest with you, in that life, it was great. I was getting paid a fortune and was full-time for 3 or 4 different businesses. But it was incredibly lonely. I spent a huge amount of time in clients. And as that consultant, you're seen as the expert, and it was quite often I'd walk out the room and not know the answer. And in that consultant world, that's a really lonely and stressful place to be at. And also when you're running your own business, I'd say, I mean, my business has come on leaps and bounds. We've got Davey in Glasgow, and we've formed a partnership now because he geeks me. We're really great at teaching others, but probably not quite so good at doing the discipline ourselves. So for me, that balance was really important. I think the breadth of knowledge and the accountability that being a part of a group is huge, and it's definitely driven it forward. I think the major thing I'd agree with Lisa as well is the brand and the strength. It's really building momentum, and we have some really great conversations with people up in Scotland. We're building a real kind of tribe up in Scotland, and we're getting conversations with people that we just wouldn't be able to do if I was effectively a sole trader. I said this before the call, we're getting 3 sales clubs, 130 people attending every month. We've got expo we're going to run in November, which we're planning to get 350 businesses in the room. We've now got backing by FSB and the IOD and a couple of banks and all that side of things. And as a sole trader, we'd never be able to do that as an individual. So for me, the space is really important. The wealth of knowledge across the group is awesome. And then on the other occasion, I get to pick up the phone and moan to people like Lisa about how difficult it is to run a business. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to come on to the difficulties in a minute, because I think we need to do, right? If you're thinking about franchising as an opportunity for you, or just starting your own business, everything comes with stress. Everything comes with a challenge. And I think you two being on here, I think there's some great insight that everyone can get about things that people should think about. What if you went back 3.5 and 4.5 years? What would you do different? There's some stories in there. But before we just dive into that, Peter, can you just explain what a sales club is? Because we talk about them freewheel, don't we, in our world of something. When we're thinking about changing the way the world perceives sales club is one of our core services to market. Explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for us, it's an amazing tool. And to be fair, I tried starting it when I was on my own. I was getting kind of 7, 8, 12, 15 attendees. Quite difficult to kind of run. And probably in my early days, I completely undervalued the power of Sales Club. Really took off when Davey came in and we started doing them together. So we were able to create a bigger room, a lot more fun. So we basically offer a free training service in Glasgow on the first Friday of the month in Edinburgh the middle Friday of the month, and in a city just outside Glasgow called Paisley, which we do on the same Wednesday every month. And we get, as I say, around about 130 people. Free sales training, come along. And the bit for me, which is great, it's the kind of changing perceptions of sales in so many ways. One, salespeople giving knowledge away for free is not something that people would expect salespeople to do. So that's a great way of proving that we live and breathe the change in the way the world perceives sales. But then also for me, it's great because you get people along to the event to train and to learn. But off the back of the workshops and the community, we've created how much networking and selling actually happens within that room between the community is huge. And we see several partners and sponsors that we work with, doing lots of trade with each other. So for me, it's that pinnacle of changing the world, the way the world perceives sales. It's about doing things for free, creating a community, creating a fan base. And for us in Glasgow, we would not have got into people like RBS and, the institute's directors and organizations like that without the sales club, because it creates so much heat. And that whole statement of first rule of sales club, tell everybody about sales club, is definitely a power that we have. And John, the solo that joined me, he came from a competitor because he saw the power of sales club and he saw what we were doing and wanted to be a part of that. So I think for me, that's a testament to what we do. And in Scotland, it's great. We've had school children there. We've had 3 people from the US. We've had 1 come from India.
Yes, we know the lady.
Yeah. So, that's the power of it, and it was really interesting when we started the one in Edinburgh, opposite side of the country from Glasgow. And our first event there, we had 15 people. 9 of those people had travelled from Glasgow to Edinburgh just to experience Sales Club in Edinburgh, because it had been the one in Glasgow for every month for 6 months. They just wanted to see something different, and we're in Edinburgh that day. So for me, creating that fan base and creating that community, it's an awesome way of doing it.
And what's the fun stuff about Sales Club? Let's just talk about some fun. I do want to come back all to the challenges in a second, because you do Sales Clubs as well, Lisa. I used to love doing them. In fact, I haven't done one for a while. So if there's any of you two want to put out an invite that a lonely old corporate citizen like me can come and do one,
I would love that, James. I would love that. Come and compete on my stage.
Oh my God! Can you imagine the 2 of us on stage? You wouldn't get the word count. Would be like people's heads would be exploding.
It'd be brilliant. I'm totally getting to send the next one in November. It's coming your way.
All right. Okay. Cool. Right. So come on and tell me about what's the fun side of Sales Clubs for you, Lisa?
I think the fun side for me is really everybody's contribution, meeting all of the new businesses, being able to deliver and give yourself a platform to create social proof. And, everything I do is fun, right? So it is about delivering the Sales Geek gold in a way that is completely absorbed. But you can't do that without being fun. You can't do that without entertaining people. You can't do that without taking them on a journey. And that's what we do. And the community that we've built in Essex has been insanely good. And we've had some tough times, and I've had an injury, and my community has really come together to help me and push me through and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just great. It's like I say, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes community to raise a business. And I've had 2 communities, my local community and my Geek community, and it is always fun.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I like that, what you say there, the community thing. It's a very true thing. Hey, I've got some stats for you. Do you want some stats? I'm always known for stats. Right, ready for stats? How many businesses do you think there are in the world? Because I did it at the quarterly meeting just in the UK. Let's go with the world. Registered businesses. We're not going to go with all the unregistered stuff.
No idea. Billions.
Okay, so the current world census says there's approximately 520 million businesses worldwide. Those are the registered businesses.
Wowza.
Wow.
How many of those businesses are under 30 employees?
About at least 95% of them, I reckon.
99.6%.
So it's interesting. I'm doing a bit of work with the Scottish Government up here, and in Scotland we have 2.8 million businesses. Now, we only have a population of 6 million. It's 2.8 million businesses that have less than 10 employees. And one of the things the Scottish Government have jumped on, and they realise that if they can get, I can't remember the exact numbers, so don't quote me, but something like 2% of those businesses, if they can get those 2% of businesses to grow to have more than 10 employees, they quadruple the GDP of Scotland.
Wow.
It is bonkers because of the jobs they create, the taxation they create, the productivity they create, and just that little step makes a massive amount of difference to a country.
It's a huge thing. The point I was sort of going to make, but I want to come back to that because the economy thing is a really important thing about what drives the economy. Where does the money come from? Where's the flow of money, etc. And it comes from mostly the small businesses. The big businesses at the top, they contribute heavily, and this is not to discount any of them because we do work with a lot of those really big businesses, global entities, etc. But if you can change the world of small businesses and the skills and competencies and capabilities of small businesses, then you're having such an impact on your local economy that cannot be understated. The point I was making there is in relation to your sales club comment, which is something for those of you that are in the UK or those of you that know anything about the UK, there is the NHS, the National Health Service, and they have a saying which says medical care is free at the point of need for those that need it the most, which is the point of the NHS. And we kind of riff off that statement for Sales Geek services. So there's two services you can attain from us, sales clubs being a predominant one. It's free at the point of need for those that need it the most. Come along, see one of the great geeks around the world. There's 65 of us now around the world. Rock up into a room, get a free networking session, meet your local boys and girls around you, network, do business locally, feed your local economy, but get educated for free. And I think that's a powerful statement. So here's your next two stats. Ready for these ones? Going to come at you fast and furious with stats. Do you know, Lisa's going to know the answer to this one. Well, maybe she won't. How many sales clubs have we put on in the last, I'm going to go 5 years?
I definitely don't know the number of that. I'm fascinated.
350.
How many of them were mine?
326. How many people have been through a sales club, so have had access to free sales training? 350 on. How many people do you reckon? And there's some error margin in here because keeping tabs of this is sometimes a bit more difficult.
Ooh, 5,000? 5,000 businesses?
I'd go more than that.
Peter's going more than one more.
Oh yeah, because you have the big guns. You have really.
Peter accounts for most of them.
30, like 35, but you like 200.
I mean, to give you a number, we do a stat in Scotland. We have 498 businesses in our sales club communities in Scotland. So we run 3 sales clubs a month. So
wow.
Yeah, we probably get about 120, 130 turn up. So we have 3 times more people in our community than actually turn up at sales club.
Right. Okay. So give me a number. So you've gone with 5,000. You pinned on that now, Lisa. I'm not letting you get away with that.
I don't know, 10,000.
10,000. Becky, give me a number.
We'll go in the middle. I'll go 7,000.
7.5. So there's a big error margin in here because I can't capture everyone's data, but it is between 17 and 21,000 at the moment. We think it's north of that by quite a margin, but that's the ones we can count.
Yep.
So that's people that have had access over the last 4 years to free sales education and had fun doing it, which is good. And then there's the academy and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to come back to stats in a minute. So let's flip the tone a wee bit and let's talk about some of the challenges, right? So you're going to come on board, whether you're starting a business, doing a franchise with Sales Geek or doing a franchise with anybody, you got to get going, right? So if you could speak to a younger you 3.5 years ago and 4.5 years ago, what advice would you give yourselves?
Do you want me to go first?
Clearly.
You'll give me
I think there's lots of different ways to kind of build these things, and it's all about layers. I think if I was speaking to myself 3 years ago, I would say nail your ICP and go old school. Like pick up that phone and seek them out and do all of that thing. Obviously, it's great doing the social media. It's great doing networking. It's great going out and about. But actually, let's cut to the chase, right? Let's just do what we tell other people to do. I think that's the thing, is the whole thing, is that whole cobbler's children stuff. So I think being much clearer about my route to market and who they were. But again, you need to build. I mean, I was the first Southern geek. There was like nobody had heard of Sales Geek. You know, I was shouting from every rooftop for at least 3 years before it kind of turns around. You know, it's you have to play the long game. You have to work really hard. But I think, you know, nail your ICP and maybe be a bit more kind of direct with my route to market.
Okay, good. So ICP, direct route to market. Peter, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, you know, I've had Davey join me 18 months after in another territory of Scotland, and now we've formed a business, so we spend a lot of time talking about this in our journey, and we've got 2 or 3 members of the staff joining the business as well. I think the first thing I'd give anybody who's thinking about joining any small business, and it's odd because we're a sales business, but see, if you don't have the passion and hunger to go out and actually sell, then it's the wrong place for you. You need to be able to actually get that hunger to get up in the morning and go and knock on doors and kiss frogs and, you know, get rejection. You know, that is a part of the sales process. And I think it makes us stronger as geeks because we have to do what our clients who start businesses need to do. So for me, go in there with full expectations that your first year, 2 years you learn a lot, you kiss lots of frogs, you do everything old school, go meet people, pick up the phone, send emails, get rejection, be resilient. You know, it's exactly what sales life is. You know, you're less of a sales director, more of a salesperson, which I think for a lot of people who join the network don't fully realize, I suppose. And if you get that people who love the hunger of just closing a deal, then you'll love what you do. And then I'd totally reiterate with Lisa, your ICP is so key. I think the natural challenge for all small businesses is you walk away from a salaried role, you start a business, and very quickly you think, and I'm trying not to swear, so excuse me if I do, but you think, oh my God, I have to pay the mortgage. In my world, it was a lot stronger than that, but you know, you literally got to that point where one day you think, I'm going to pay mortgage. That's it. I started, I signed a contract right on my second daughter's birth. We had no savings. We just moved house, so I needed to pay bills pretty quickly. So I did exactly what we tell clients not to do and tried to sell everything to anybody. I widened the scope so much because I was just so desperate to get paid. And for me, knowing your ICP, knowing where your strengths are, and I think we mentioned it earlier here, the network is key. But the real strength of salespeople is the black book. It's who you know, the relationships you've built over the years. So use them. And I think for me, it's amazing the amount of people who come into this world and then don't speak to previous bosses and previous employers and competitors and customers and suppliers. To me, if I was doing it again, my first 3 weeks would just spend on the phone to everybody in my black book to tell them what the hell I was getting up to.
Yeah, it's an important thing. We would do that as salespeople whenever you used to move around, didn't you? If you were moving around in similar industries, similar technologies in your corporate life, you'd go back to your old index, wouldn't you? And just say, look, you know, I'm over here now and I'm doing this. If you liked me and you built a relationship with me, the only thing I've got to do is convince you that the services that I now represent are maybe something you'd be interested in. And we teach this a lot. Salespeople need to get out there, but you do it. You two know it because I've done this enough times with you guys, but for anyone that's out there has ever had a call with me, you'll know there's a triangle we talk about with the circle and the triangle. There's 3 things that make successful geeks, and this triangle has not been proven wrong yet in 4 and a bit years of doing this. So there's side 1, it's all about the networking, and the guys are talking about it there, right? It's getting out there, whether it's you're doing social clubs, whether you're doing the black book stuff, whether you're doing whatever it is, you have to network. You have to have a social presence, you've got to have a physical presence. People have got to know who you are, what geek means, what you stand for, what it all is. And the best way you'll do that is you use the language of we and we're famous for, because we are a collective of 65 boys and girls around the world, 1,400 plus years of combined experience, leverage knowledge that someone can get through the lens of you, right? And out to there. So you've got to be good on social, you've got to be good out in the field, and you've got to hustle. Every business hustles, whether you're Microsoft or whether you guys there, you're still hustling, right? So that networking piece, then you got to say the right things. We all talk about don't be that guy, don't oversell, don't sell everything to everyone, know the ICP, do the right things, do the right language. There's the you factor. Everyone likes you because you guys are here. And you got to sell. You've got to ultimately ask for the business at the end of the day. And if you can ask for the business at the end of the day, we know in industry that every business in the world, bar none, all 520 millions of those businesses around the world will have a sales challenge at least once in their financial year. When they get to that challenge, they try to solve that challenge internally, start new campaigns, hire people, change pricing, whatever all that language is, they'll look internally. But most businesses hit the ceiling and don't know where to go once the ceiling is there. And if they can't solve it internally, all we want to do is go, come talk to us. Doesn't mean we will solve everything 100% of the time. But across 1,400 plus years, 65 boys and girls around the world, we've managed 32 billion in revenue, over 50,000 people under management. We know a thing or two about sales operations, sales leadership. So there's a fair guess we know a thing or two. And that's, I think, is the power of network, right? Our community, to your point, of both of you. I've rambled on a bit. Me too. Becky, I know you had a question. I'm just going to ask you that now while you're taking a sip for a drink.
Yeah, it's all right. Good, Sammy. So one of the questions that I do get a lot, obviously speaking with new geeks, people considering, joining our tribe, is sort of around that support infrastructure from a HQ perspective, but also from a product perspective. You guys just talk about what sort of difference that's made in terms of you just being able to get out there into the field and just focus on networking as opposed to the deliverables.
Oh, it's huge. It would take you probably 18 months to build the products, let alone the training, let alone like the route to market insights, let alone it's just enormous. And any time, the door's always open, right? All of the HQ team are just so warm, so brilliant, so supportive, and there is nothing less attractive than an angry, upset Lisa, which doesn't happen very often, actually. But when there is, and I'm sitting there going, rah, 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 that is those times when you just need a calm, knowledgeable, caring, like that. We care, right? It's one of our core values. And I have a whole bunch of amazing people. Peter will be the same, when we've hit a wall, and turned to each other, and said, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know where it is, but we all pull together. And that's the beauty of the Geeks, is because we have utter belief and we absolutely care about the other people in our community, and HQ are the builders, and you're reflective of the people at the top, right? And absolutely, you guys have been able to inspire some amazing humans to come and join you, and that is huge credibility. Like, huge kudos to you guys.
Cool. Let's just talk a bit about. Sorry, go on, Peter. You're going to say something.
I was going to say, how do I add to that? No, I think at least right. HQ, the team, the HQ. There's so much breadth and knowledge within that, and I think I keep defaulting to the community part, but the one thing that HQ are really good at doing, and going back to your point about not turning up at quarterlies, it's something I miss. I think the major skill that Richard and HQ have been able to do is bringing the community. And I think for me, facilitating the franchisees into such a strong community is a great strength. Because we're all geeks, we're all at different parts of our journeys, we're all seen problems, we've all challenged those problems differently, we've solved them differently, we've got different results. And just knowing that other franchisees are at the end of the phone, so if you need somebody to speak to who's been in the year longer than you, or, it's just doing things differently to the way you would and get better success, I think is a real strength. I think for me, one of the big things, on top of all the points that Lisa raised, is fostering that community and bringing that community together is a really strong bit for me.
Cool. Very nice. Let's bring it a little bit up to date. So let's talk about where you are today. And specifically, what's your ambitions for this year? Where are you trying to get to? And Life of a Geek, you're going to be here for a few years. You've got big visions because you've like Peter, you've taken over all of Scotland now. You are the mafia, effectively. Apologies to anyone that is in that sort of arena. I mean no offence. And Lisa, you've got ambitions on more of the scope of down on the southwest, etc. So, what's your ambitions? Where are you trying to get to? What's the revenue numbers you want to try and earn over the next few years? People, shape it out for the world. What are you trying to get to?
Do you want to go first, Peter? Or I'm going to sound you doing brilliantly, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I'd answer that is, almost what I say to all my clients as well. Yeah, everybody starts their own business with the view of getting kind of financial freedom, getting freedom from work, giving flexibility around their work-life balance, and to give them choices in life. And the amount of small businesses or business owners who leave a well-paid job with all the security and the notice periods and the contracts that you get in a job, and then they start running their own business and they become a slave to that business. So they don't get holidays. When they're sick, they're still working. The amount of people who miss parents' evenings or whatever because of their business. It's not why anybody starts a business. You start a business to get kind of financial freedom, give you opportunities and options in life. And it's why it's fundamental to why Dave and I joined. One, because we created a snowball that felt like we had to carry on going. And I know that has quite a lot of negative kind of connotations to it, but for us, we built momentum and we felt like we had the opportunity to accelerate that or try to stop it. And in some ways, accelerating it was easy, but that also gives us the opportunity to grow it to the stage where we can get financial freedom. We can start not being being the deliverer of our services, because when you're a solo geek working on your own, owning your own territory, frankly, the minute you stop doing business development, the minute you stop going to networking events, and the minute you stop getting referrals, your business will die really quickly. So the pressure's really on you to continue working, and you do become a bit of a slave to the business. So for us, scaling to Scotland, one, it gave us credibility because there's lots of organisations that deal with Scotland as a separate country, so it enabled us to have those conversations at that level. But it also enables us to get to the situation that realistically, I mean, Davey and I would hope within 3 years to probably get up to something like 10 to 15 geeks across Scotland is our aim. And at that stage, we can start earning the sort of money that doesn't need us to work.
Yeah.
Because we're salespeople and we're all workaholics and we focus on numbers, we'll never step away from it because part of the fun is doing it. But knowing that you can go away on holiday and you can switch your laptop off and switch your phone off and you don't have to be at somebody else's beck and call is the freedom that we all try to strive from having our own businesses, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a really difficult question. You might have an answer, you might not. It's okay if you don't. And Lisa, I'm going to give you the same question once you've told us where you think it's going to be. Aspirationally, over the next 2 to 3 years at a revenue position, what are you aiming for? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million? I don't know. What are you trying to get it to?
I mean, I think that an individual geek should be doing 120 to 180k a year easy on their own. So we're looking 10, 15 of us. So whatever that number is, 15 times 1.5 is what? I can't do the math. 2.
Yeah, so it's nearly 20 million.
Something like that. Okay. I mean, I think we have two very basic numbers in our mind. Is one, both Dave and I want to get to a situation that we can earn 10 grand a month without working. So that means other people are working and giving us revenue to create 10 grand a month each. And ultimately be in the situation that we can have an asset that we can sell that will enable us to retire.
Very good. Very good answer. Lisa, you got to step up to that. Now, Lisa, your world is a little bit different. You haven't bought whole of a country, not yet.
No.
Anyway. And you're on your way. Masters are available. But what's you and Peter at the moment, right? Getting together, and you've come on a bit of a journey now. Where's your aspiration over the next 2 to 3 years?
I think that thing of going from 1 to 2 is the hardest thing, and finding the right person. You know, this is, you know, when also when you're very used to being your own boss, it's quite difficult to be able to find someone that compliments you. And Peter does that brilliantly. So we're hoping for a final flourish to this year, and we're hoping to find a couple of solos. And we're speaking to people at the moment. We've got some interesting people who are around us and looking at us and being involved with us. And we're looking to take on an apprentice, a sales operations apprentice. So we're going a slightly different route, and getting them to do a level 6 B2B sales apprentice over 3 years to become the sales operations manager. So doing all of the stuff that we don't like doing, because there's a lot of that. Finding the gaps in the business. What are we good at? What are we not good at? So that person's going to be in and doing that, all of the stuff that we don't do very well. So we're hoping to go as early as possible into 2026 at 5 people. 2 franchises, two founders, and an apprentice. But we're looking at, by the end of 2026, well, I think it's probably 2027 now, being in a position where we can turn over £1 million. And we're looking at our geographical area, and East Anglia is where we are, and it's notoriously bad for sales and finding salespeople. Like when I was trying to recruit salespeople in East Anglia, it's like, no, there's like laggards, you know. So you've got Suffolk and Norfolk, and it's very rural. Essex is much more cosmopolitan and much more businessy and stuff like that. So we rebadged ourselves as Sales Geek East in a corporate way. So we registered Sales Geek East because our ambition is to spread through East Anglia. So that little bottom on the side of England, all of that, that's almost like a country, isn't it? I mean, it's a country. I mean, there's tracker boys all over the place, right? So that's the ambition. So what's that? Essex, Suffolk, Cambridge, Norfolk. You know, they're tough territories, but they absolutely need what we have, because there's loads of businesses out there. What 99.8% of businesses are less than 6 people, and the reason they stay there is because they don't know what we know. Right, so we can change that. You know, so going into next year, 5 as soon as possible. End of next year, 10 people. 10 people. That's where I want to be sitting at the end of 2026, and going into being able to deliver £1 million worth of revenue by the end of moving forward from 2026.
So I now feel like I have to accelerate my plans.
Yeah, you do. I'm coming to get you.
Having a country, I need to go at least 30, don't I?
Yeah, exactly. Like all this.
Maybe that's what we should challenge. Maybe that's what we should challenge. We need to have more geeks in Scotland than you guys do in England.
Yeah, there you go. I think gauntlets have been thrown there. I think challenges have been made. We're going to come on this call in a year's time, get you 2 back on, and then everyone that's listening will come on and go.
That will solve the problem, because then you'll have to come to Glasgow to do your quarterly.
I'm quite happy. If you've got 10, 15 geeks, we're up there, man.
Yeah. We'll get on the plane.
Yeah, do it. I'm up for it. All right, I'm conscious of time, so we're going to have to wrap it up here. We promised 45 minutes, and it's 45 minutes on the dot. I'm going to really put you on the hook now. If you could give the people listening, most of the guys and girls obviously listening in climes abroad, if you give them one piece of advice about considering this as an opportunity for them, what bit of advice would you give them? Well, that's a tough one.
I don't think it's for everybody. I genuinely don't think it's for everybody. I don't think that everybody has the right values or vision. But if you come from a place of wanting to make a difference, if you come from a place that matches our values, it will literally be the best thing you've ever done. Like I can be truly me, and I'm an oddball, right? I am wild and feral and outspoken and controversial. But
I'm glad we have this recorded.
well, I know who I am. But you know what? I truly have found my tribe. So it's not for everybody, but if you are part of this, if this resonates for you in any way, if you are a heart-led human being that genuinely wants to make a change in your community with the businesses, changing people's lives, getting people to fall back in love with their business because they fall out of it because of sales, because they can't get to where they want to go, then this is for you. Like, you will, no day is like work. Every day is filled with passion and just.
I'm starting to well up here, Lisa. I'm starting to get a bit teary.
So true, right? It's so true. I never feel like I'm working. I know that I'm always like giving, and and that's the way. Reciprocity is the way forward. It's the way I've always grown my businesses. And if you're that kind of person, if you're a me, I just want to get rich quick, then go away. Go the hell away. But if you are a heart, vision, passion and purpose person, then you will not find a better platform than this.
Thank you, Lisa. Go on in, PD. Now got to top that.
No, I think I'll start to say personality-wise, I'm probably at the opposite end of the spectrum from
it's true, actually. So true.
I think I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't particularly like selling myself. It's probably the Scottish nature in me. I was doing some work with entrepreneurial network that works right across the world, and we were talking about how Scots have been so good at inventing and creating businesses and creating jobs around the world, but we don't actually like promoting ourselves. But then, to me, that's the fundamentals of changing the perception of sales. People don't like an arrogant person who just shouts about themselves. They like somebody to be a bit inward, I suppose. So I think things for me, the tips: one, if you've still got hunger for sales, do it. If you don't have a hunger for sales, don't. Simple as that. And that's from every aspect. Whether you want to be a director or a non-exec or CTO, whatever it might be, you still need to be that person who gets up in the morning and goes and knocks on doors. So for me, that's key. But, it's a really odd thing because I probably was in my corporate life that number chasing, salary chasing, title chasing dude that was on a career path. And I have to watch because I will get emotional about it. But one of the things that I love that we do in Scotland is Sales Club, and that the tribe have created. And you hear some of the stories of the people who've come to Sales Club and how it's changed their lives. I mean, we've got one guy who boss had been trying to persuade him to do a sales job for 3 years, came to Sales Club 3 times, then went back to his boss and went, I want to be a salesperson. I now know what it means and I want to do it. So he's one of my clients now. And we've had school children turn up. And to me, you get that reach and you understand that amount of difference you can make to people's lives. It's huge.
Yeah, so it's a really good point. I meant to mention it earlier. I'm riffing off the stuff that we do for community because I think there's a lot of that what we do as businesses, and what we do is we grow a business, and you can be your own boss, all that sort of great stuff. But also that community stuff, changing people's lives, is a really impactful thing. I'm doing a fair, a careers fair at school in a couple of weeks' time at my local community. We sponsor football clubs. I sponsor one of my football clubs. In fact, one of the teachers just sent out, where are we? We had for those that know it, we had our first win this season. There's the boys, Sales Geek, Mini Geeks there. We had their first win on Sunday, 7-2 win. We sponsor football clubs. We sponsor cricket clubs. We sponsor football grounds. We sponsor events. There's a lot Geeks do for the community, and I think that's a powerful thing to get the message out there. But anyway, I am really delighted to have both of you on the call. Thank you very much, and thank you, Becky, for joining me today. I know we're going to cut it short now, and you could join us, right? And you can have the delights of meeting Lisa, and you get to work with Lisa. You get to meet Peter if you can ever find him or get him to come.
When Sales Geek comes to Scotland.
When Sales Geek comes to Scotland, there we go. But in the meantime, if any of this obviously floats your boat and you want to find out more information, Becky's on standby, so is Jay, and give us a shout. You can talk to us. You can always reach out to me, James, on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect and talk to anyone that's interested in all these sorts of things. But watch out for the next set of webinars. We've got a few more coming up. There's a couple of other different lives of geeks, different characters, different personalities to get to know and understand what they do. And we're going to get some of our international personalities on the phone on the webinar. So meet some of our American geeks, some of our other Indian geeks. And then we're also out in Malaysia now, and we're going further afield as well. So come and join in and have a chat with some of these boys and girls. And then we've got a few other webinars coming up which talk more in depth about what it is Geek does, the kinds of things that we do for clients, the challenges and issues that we solve. There's some real learning in there. It's not franchisee led. It's all about educational led. It's about learning some things for your business or whatever. So, bring anyone on for that. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, my name's James. Thank you very much to Lisa. Thank you very much to Peter. And thank you very much for Becky. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks very much indeed.